Hey guys, so welcome to part 2 of my Wall Street Bible review. So you guys that didn't watch the first video, basically Wall Street Bible is one of the most popular discords out there. It has over 60,000 members, all of them paying something like $50 a month or more. And so it's a pretty cool discord. It's growing on me. I'm not a huge fan of these types of really hardcore discords where you have tons and tons of analysts. You can see them all in here. There's like 10 of them or something. And they're all crazy scalpers, right? So you have to be into that style of trading, be able to sit at your desk and then scalp these things really quickly. A lot of them do SPX, and so I wanted to start with going through the different analysts. So I decided what I'd do is I'd start with Bryce. Part of that is because on my last video somebody posted that they didn't really like Bryce's plays and that he seemed just kind of like the typical Discord guru or analyst, they call them analysts, right? that you see where they're scalping stuff really fast and then they boast about their wins and then their losses kind of get swept under the carpet. So I thought I'd start with him and then work my way through in different videos. I know a couple of the other guys that alert in Wall Street Bible, so I thought what I'd do is just start with Bryce and then just look at a couple trades, look at kind of what he does overall for this video, and then move on to somebody else for the next video. So yeah, so I picked Valentine's Day. It was a couple of days ago, just picked it at random. It's kind of good though, because I don't want to spend I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours going through this guy's trades. And so this was still a heavily alerted trade day. He did several trades all within a short time frame. So it was actually, according to him, though, it was going to be like a lighter day, but it still took me some time to go through all of these. So I'll go through a couple of trades, go through a winning trade and a losing trade, so you guys can see what to expect from Bryce in Wall Street Bible. And so you can see at the start of the day here, said good morning, happy Valentine's Day, it was CPI, I don't plan on trading much, I do have a ton of DMs, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to trade light size. So to give him, props here, he actually did say it was a risky day, and CPI was a horrendous day for most people from what I saw. And his first trade was a 0 DTE SPX put option, the 40-50 puts. And he did say it was high risk, so high risk, give him that. And he bought it, so BTO's buy to open, SPX 214 at 275. And so I plotted this out and put it on here. So these are the contracts, the 40-50 puts on SPX. And so this is a 1 minute time frame, and you can see that this 1 minute candle, this is where he alerted it in the Discord, and he entered at 275, which is this red line, and he trimmed on the same 1 minute candle, so up here somewhere at 2.9. So he trimmed a little bit, and then for the next few minutes it just kind of faded off down. And 8 minutes later, he said he'd stopped out at 2.1. And so overall, this was a losing trade, but it wasn't clear from what he was saying, like how much of a loss, right? So we don't really know what his size was. We don't really know how much he trimmed at 2.9, right? So we don't know if he took half off, if he took one contract out of 50. So this is typical of these analysts on these Discords. Unfortunately, it's not that transparent. Like, you can say, okay, yeah, he talks about the numbers a bit and he shows his charts, he talks about Fibonacci levels a little bit, but it's not fully transparent. We don't know what that loss was and whether it way outdid the win that I'm just about to show you in a few minutes. So when I talk about transparency with Discords, and any alert service, but Discords are particularly bad for this, we don't know how much of a loss this was. So he did say he took small gains on this first move within 30 seconds of alerting. So unfortunately, I think for subscribers, the chances of being able to take those slight profits were probably quite bad. They probably ended up with a worse price. If you look at the chart, they probably ended up when the contracts were up here. Remember, this is the contract price, not the SPX price. It's the contract price. So I highly doubt subscribers made anything on this, and their losses were probably amplified because of this quick move up. Most people end up chasing these things, right? So they end up taking a bigger loss. So that's my first issue with Mr. Bryce. I think it's typical of these alerts gurus on Discords to do this. A nice thing is he does show his charts. He does show levels sometimes, and it's kind of interesting. Here's his alert here though. So this was 8 minutes after he went into those contracts, and he sold at 2.1 for an overall loss. Glad I trimmed when I did. I don't have any major support resistance where we're at besides the fibs. Going to wait for a better setup that isn't as risky. So fair play to him. Again, it didn't work. It wasn't a huge loss though. I mean, it went down from 2.9 to 2.1. That's a 30% loss or something. It's not the end of the world. It's just this lack of transparency that it bothers me, because we don't know if he lost $10,000 on that trade and then made $1,000 on this trade that I'm just about to go through. Overall, it's like not giving you all the details that you need to know, because that can take you from a losing trader to a winning trader, right? So we don't know. And I'm not saying this guy's not honest. This is a problem in the industry as a whole. And I'm seeing it here initially with Bryce right out of the gate. So let me see. So next up, a few minutes later, we're seeing tons of bullish momentum now, looking at calls, watching closely. And then so he jumped into these buy to open SPX 214, so same day again, 41.75 calls at 3.1, scaling in 1/3 of position. Okay, so my question is he always going in with the same position sizes? Or does he change that? We don't really know. I'm assuming he goes in with the same. I mean, that's what I do, try and keep my positions the same usually. Hate that I'm buying this high, but I'm bullish until the next Fibonacci level. I plan on adding if it pulls back. And so this is where it turns into this kind of choppy trade. So scaling in as the SPX chops around on these contracts. He posted his thing here. So I think these are the fib levels that he's showing. And so you can see SPX was in an uptrend. First ad here. So looking back, this is kind of confusing. There's a few ads. I can show you on the chart, it'll be easier. So he added again till his dollar cost average was 2.9. Calls just hit. Okay, so let's look at the chart. I plotted it out. And so this was back here where he entered at 3.1, right here. And then a few minutes later, he added down at 2.7, meaning that his average was somewhere in the middle here, about 2.9. And then it just kind of held it. This is the 1 minute chart. Again, this is plotting the contracts, the calls for the SPX that he alerted. So not the actual SPX, but the contracts. So then the contracts started to go up in price, which is nice. We had a really nice move up to like 3.83. So about the same move up here as he lost on the previous trade, right? So as far as we can tell. But again, it's impossible to know whether this trade made up for the previous trade or not. Because then he did start to say things like, we just hit 3.4 for 17% gains. So if we look here, 3.4 is about 3.4, it's about here. And so he says for 17% gains, but he didn't say he took that, right? Like, he didn't say he scaled out, he just said it's at 17% gain, so not very clear again. I did take my last ad, but my DCA didn't change much. So he's saying he is in a full position at roughly 2.9 at this point. But then it's not clear whether he actually sold at 17%. Now, all this might be semantics, right? Because you're responsible for your own trades, so you can do whatever you want. If 17% is good, just take 17% if you were able to get in. And that's the good thing here, is you will have been able to get roughly the same dollar cost average as he was, because it did go sideways for a few minutes. Remember, this is a 1 minute time frame, so for 5 minutes it was kind of in the same range. Bearing in mind that these are actually quite big fluctuations, they're not small, they just look small in the grand scheme of things. And so this trade did work out pretty well. So here's the Fibonacci price target coming that he put in. So you can see the little candle on SPX starting to pop up towards the Fibonacci level he's got in there. Printing at 3.9, just getting excited like all these guys do, 3.9. So this was on this candle right here on the contracts. So pretty good. And so no complaints here. This is pretty good. Again, the lack of transparency exactly about whether he's taking profits. Did he scale out at 17%? I don't know. So if we read down here, he's saying beautiful trims up here. So again, he's taking profits at 3.9. It sounds like, I mean, I'm assuming he's trimming here, or if he's telling people that it's a beautiful place to trim. Not too sure. The calls hit 3.9 for 34% gains. Fibonacci level hit, next level is supply, blah, blah, blah. So again, like, it's not clear how much he took at 17%, if any, how much he took at 3.9. If, like, it's very It's that lack of transparency that it always bothers me. Now, if you're just looking for direction and you're able to manage the trade yourself, that's totally fine. We don't really care what this guy is saying, as long as he's right about the direction, right? It helps. So for people that have traded before for a bit, this type of trading, then this is probably fine. But for beginners, it might be a little bit, the lack of transparency is a little bit annoying. So anyway, did some more plots here. Calls just hit 4.5. And so again, we're not really sure, did he take profits at 55% or not? So good trade, but again, it's not clear if he's actually making money overall here. Did he sell it all earlier and the loss earlier as well that just kind of cancelled it all out? We don't know. So I'm just reading down here. So then he just goes out looking for re-entry. So we're really not sure what he did here. So then he re-entered again on a different contract, the 4180 calls on SPX. Bad entry, popped unexpectedly. It was just 2.9, scaling into this one again, same as last trade. Delta squeeze is going hard right now, only in with half a position, but I think it may hit. So at least he's telling us that he's in with a half position, so that's good. Apparently, the calls just hit 4.1 for 32% gains. Again, not clear whether he took that at 32% gains or not. Let's see what he says. So calls just hit 4.4 for 42% gains. Looking for supply to hit soon. Supply hit. Let's see what else he says here. I'm out the rest on the price target hit at 46%. Okay, so he's scaling out as it goes up. That's pretty good. Let's see. To be honest, this is not too bad given the being at CPI day. He actually is doing pretty well in terms of the direction, right? So calls just exploded, 80%. Congrats if you held a bit longer. Yeah, and so we can see that the SPX contracts all did continue up pretty nicely. So he did call the direction pretty well. So give him that. Decent trades overall. And often, they're not that fast. So, he's saying here, if you held a bit longer, you would have actually made a lot more in this case. So let's see. CPI news, pretty bearish, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that was all for the CPI day. And honestly, it's pretty hard to go through each one of these and plot them and look at them and analyze them. So, and there's no point because they change so much, right? So hopefully that gives you a little taste of what this guy Bryce in Wall Street Bible does, though. One last thing I want to do is just kind of scan through and see if he gives a profit and loss summary anywhere. I know some of these guys do, at the end of the week or whatever, they'll put a weekly summary of their wins and their losses. One guy in particular that I'm excited about trying a bit more and reviewing does that really well. Here we go. So let's see what this is about. Ended up dumping my puts. Here's what we did. Optional, blah, blah, follow me red. So this looks like, I don't know, just 1 day so far. Let's see, today. So this is today's stuff. Okay, so today so far he's done, it's only a couple hours into the trading day, he's done 5 SPX trades, puts and calls, a mixture of them. Looks like he's done pretty well. 55%, 26%, 37%, 25% minus it. So yeah, so overall this guy's not that bad. I mean, he seems pretty good from the small amount I'm seeing here. At least the trades were able to be replicated, right? So the ones that I analysed didn't just take off and then he sold everything within a 10-second time frame, which is a problem. Again, I'm just scanning through here though to see if there's any transparency with the weekly trades or something. He takes so many though that there's so many trades here, which is great for people that like this type of thing. He takes so many that it's just trying to find stuff in his channel from before. It takes 20 minutes just to find a table of results or something. So I'll keep scrolling up here, but so far I'm not really seeing any sort of summary, any sort of profit loss type of thing. So here's that's economic data. So if you like crackhead day trading on the SPX 0DTE, you probably like this guy. I think with a bit of practice, probably his trades are okay. So yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. This is all the way back over a week, and so I'm not seeing anything where he actually gives any kind of summary of like a week trade, like his weekly trades. And so this is my problem overall with a lot of these guys. It's impossible to tell if he's actually overall profitable or not. Sure, there's lots of trades and a lot of them work, which is great, but the trade management's the key, right? You've got to make sure that the wins are bigger than the losses. Even if you put percentage wins, it doesn't help, because a lot of the time those are the runners, right? So you'll say it was a 55% winner, but really he scaled out at 10% and only had one runner left to go up to 55%. And so I don't think that's like a scam or anything, but it definitely needs to be something that, in my opinion, the industry needs to look at a bit more and be a bit more transparent with, keeping spreadsheets and things like that. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. Keep an eye out for the next video. I'm probably going to just go into hedge trades next in the next video, and kind of do the same thing, go through what he does and is sort of a typical couple of trades, a winner and a losing trade, and just have a look at those. Alright guys, till next time, thanks.